Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Monday, November 24th, 2025. I am Dave Biddle, very happy to be joined by Dan Rubin. It is, of course, beat Michigan week, 5 days and counting. Buckeyes favored by 10.5. It's gone down a little bit, opened at 11.5. Buckeyes favored by 10.5 at Ann Arbor, in Ann Arbor this week. By the way, they say Ann Arbor funny up there. Do you know that? They say Ann Arbor. It's like it's one word, Ann Arbor. But it's I-N Arbor. In Arbor. Anyway, we're going to get to all of this. But before we start, you guys know I like documentaries a lot, right? And Dan and I are both huge fans of a guy named Eddie Murphy, who is one of those guys where everybody knows he's great, and I still think he's underrated. His documentary, and it's been out for like a week and a half now on Netflix, Being Eddie. I watched it last night. Fantastic. Absolutely great. So I highly recommend Being Eddie. Whether or not you're a huge Eddie Murphy fan or not, I think it's just absolutely fantastic. If you are a big Eddie Murphy fan, you're going to love it. Kung Fu Grip, right, Dan?
I am a Eddie Murphy fan. That's an inside joke about I can't really give it away, but suffice to say that the holidays will be better this year if you can get the Kung Fu Grip. Yeah, Eddie Murphy. I've not seen it. I actually avoided it because I didn't want it to be terrible.
It's fantastic. You'll love it.
You know, like Coming to America 2. I didn't see that. I just pretend it didn't happen.
Right.
Like, I don't want to see it. Eddie Murphy is such a big part of my childhood and like the definition of I mean, I'm right in his wheelhouse if you look at the age, which I'm not going to reveal, but true genius, like a true, like you talk about like guys who are walking around on the Mount Rushmore of whatever they do. Eddie Murphy, I'll tell you what, the Charlie Murphy, Dave Chappelle stuff is some of the funniest stuff available to humankind. I'm not kidding when I say that.
They are prominently featured during the documentary. Dave Chappelle prominently featured. Chris Rock prominently featured. Eddie Murphy's brother prominently featured. You guys will love it. Jerry Seinfeld. I mean, it's fantastic. And Eddie just lets it all. You know, he just tells all. He really doesn't have any skeletons, but it's interesting. He's just very vulnerable and very, very good. Anyway, last time I recommended a document, it was actually a movie, was the Bob Dylan movie, A Complete Unknown. So I wanted to kick Michigan week off with a nice little like doc. If you guys are looking to kill like 90 minutes some point this week and you have Netflix, pop it on. All right.
And also, Dave, if we're going to do that, we are Paramount here at Bucknuts, and there's a documentary reality show coming out called 5 Star where they focus in on some recruits, and one of them is shocker, and we had nothing to do with it, despite our parent employer. Devin Sanchez is on there, so you're going to want to check that out.
Yeah.
Speak O La Mom. I did not say that.
That is impeccable timing right there. Yeah. Yes, J-Book mentioned that on Friday. I had no idea till he mentioned it right before we went on the air. He's like, "Hey, have you heard about?" I'm like, "No, I haven't." I'm like, "Tell the people about that," like during the show, and he did. That's really cool. Good for Devin. And I tell you what, we're gonna get to Jermaine. I'm not burying the lead here. We're gonna get to Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, but like, especially now with it looks like Zoe Jr. I'll be surprised if he's not out for a while. Hey, look, he really banged up his shoulder. Lorenzo Styles Jr. Too bad that happened on Senior Day, especially. Too bad it happened at all. That looked pretty bad to me. It reminded me a little bit of what it looked like with Jordan Marshall at Michigan. Now, Jordan Marshall, they did x-rays negative. I'm sure he'll play this week. There's no doubt he'll play. He's like one Arvell Reese hit away from not playing, though. And they're going to be without Justice Haynes. But especially now, if I'm right, if Zoe Jr.'s out, I mean, Devin Sanchez is going to start this football game.
Yeah, I mean, Devin's become a staple of the defense. He went in, second or third game and kind of really hasn't come out of that role. So I expect a big day. Look, he's a freshman, a true freshman. And ask yourself this question, because the guys wear numbers. If you were looking out there and had to go throw it at someone, he's just the youngest one out there, the least experienced one out there. And Davis Igbinosun has played to the point where they're probably going after others. And Jermaine Matthews slipped into the slot. So I have total confidence that Devin will step up and be his 5-star self up north.
I think Jermaine Matthews is an absolute stud, and I'm sure most Buckeye fans would agree with that. Like, you know, I mean, it's not good losing if hopefully Lorenzo Styles Jr. is fine. But if Jermaine Matthews needs to go to nickel from outside corner. That he reminds me a lot of Jordan Hancock, not just because he's wearing the number 7. And Jordan Hancock was a fantastic nickel corner for the Buckeyes last year. All right, let's get to it. I posted a VIP column this morning on what I'm hearing. I started to write it yesterday, and I'm glad I didn't post it yesterday because I got more information as I went along. Again, guys, we're not going to know for sure until the game kicks off in Ann Arbor, but I'm hearing positive things. I'm hearing some positive things. Again, nothing definitive, but I'm hearing JJ's going to play. No one's shocked about that. I'm not sure how close to 100% he is. Let's say he's like 85%, though. I'm just throwing that number out there. That's still an effective player. 85% of JJ, I'll take it. I have no doubt he's going to play. I've had 2 sources tell me he's going to play. Those same sources say the expectation is Carnell Tate will play. They both said Carnell Tate, they think will play. Is expected to play. Not that they think. He's expected to play. Everybody in the building thinks he's going to play. So there you go. As of now, 5 days away, looks like the Buckeyes are going to have both receivers. How healthy is Jeremiah? I don't know. What exactly is going on with Carnell? It's mysterious because it went from he could have played against Purdue and they just pulled him out at the last second as a precaution. Even he's fully dressed to definitely out the next 2 games. Like how do those things marry? But like could have been he got banged up in practice. Could have just been they wanted to be the company line is they just want to be, very, very cautious with them. A lot to unpack there, Dan Rubin, but overall I'm hearing good things.
I defer to you as my elite insider on that, and I have to see them not play to believe they won't play. Is that pretty obvious? Look, if this was out of character for the team, the idea of resting dudes, if this was the old system where you didn't have to play an extended playoff, if you had a coach who didn't have experience winning the playoff, I don't see the reason for super concern. I really don't. He's going to play. I think they'll both play. How effective they'll be fine. Everyone, it's a cliche, and you're going to hear this from a ton of people. Everyone's banged up to some point at this point in the year. If you haven't rolled your ankle at this point, you probably aren't playing hard enough.
Jim Lachey's line, I love doing the pregame shows with Jim Lachey on 97. Well, not with him. He comes on for a segment. He's just a legend, absolute legend, Super Bowl champion, All-American at Ohio State. And what he says, his line is always, after like the first practice at camp, nobody's 100%. After the first practice at camp, it's just for the rest of the year, nobody's 100%. It's just how close to like 95% can you get is basically what it is, or how close to 85% can you get? Anyway,
Jim Lachey's. I once heard Jim Lachey interviewed as a young pup in the DMV as he was the traded for Jay Schrader to the Raiders. Pretty good trade for Al Davis. They asked him what the greatest rivalry he's ever been a part of was during Redskins-Cowboys week. And I think people kind of expected him to say Ohio State, Michigan. And his answer was St. Henry Coldwater.
That was good. He's not going to.
Now, St. Henry this weekend ended Marion Local's nation best winning streak. So credit to the Fighting Jim Lachey's there. Injury-wise.
By the way, this isn't What We Learned Live. Let me change the banner up there from What We Learned Live to the Bucknuts Morning 5. What We Learned Live is coming at you in 5 days. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
We're not getting that far ahead of the game. And believe me, if we were, there'd be more Michigan fans here. That is one of the listened to podcasts we've ever done. And X percentage is Michiganders coming back to wallow in our misery.
We'll see how many we have this Saturday.
They're just relaying the facts. I think it's part and parcel to the way Day has done it. He's tried to rest everybody. I said this on the post-game show. I think it's just their intention to keep wear and tear off the guys. And by the way, if everyone's getting a little bit of dough these days, probably want to see them on the field if you paid for it. And so it makes more sense, I think, to get everybody in there. Until I see them, look, how far this is obnoxious, but how far down the roster you'd have to go to be threatened by Rutgers and Purdue and UCLA is pretty far. So this is not a normal team. Yes, I get people are talking about our schedule. They're so much better than the teams they just played, I don't know what they could have done to rest people. So if this were games against, the Kirk Cousin Michigan State teams and the, McSorley Penn State teams back sure, they weren't. There was a roll the ball out game. So, I mean, look, dude, I love David Adolph, but come on now. My guy's starting out there. It's a senior day. That's a festivities related maneuver. That's not, we're putting 11 of the best we got on the field, even though he's probably a fantastic player. So I'm just not worried about it. If it happens, we'll deal with it. Look, it's not like Michigan's bringing in a full roster, by the way.
Justice Haynes being out is huge. And again, Jordan Marshall will play, and he's been very good. But losing Justice Haynes for the year is huge. And I know that's nothing new, but like, he's out. He looked like, maybe other than Jeremiah Love, like the best running back in the country to me at one point this year. Boy, Jeremiah Love looks great for Notre Dame. Topic for a different day. Maybe we'll have a repeat of the last year's national championship game.
The Bengals, they'll probably pick him in the first round.
Yeah, they'll probably trade up for the number 1 overall pick to get a running back like they did with Kijana Carter. Not that I'm still upset about that or anything. Only the Bengals would do something stupid like that. They better take Caleb Downs if he's sitting there. He would last year he would have been their best DB, let alone this year. All right, I want to get to this real quick because I can't tell this is sarcasm. The forecast actually doesn't look bad at all, considering it's the end of November in Ann Arbor. I mean, it's gray, 364 days a year up there, right? In Ann Arbor, Michigan. So I'll take it. Here's what I'm seeing right now, guys. And I keep hearing people say, oh, it's going to be snowing during the game. They're saying there's a possibility of PM snow showers on Saturday in Ann Arbor. And it's going to be a high of 31. So right around 30 at kickoff. It's not expected to be too windy. Just looks like it's going to be dry for the game. Give me that. And even if it was like snow flurries, quarterbacks will tell you, man, it's the wet. It's like if it's snowing a little bit, it's when it's really windy, or if it's raining. A little bit of snow is really not that big of a deal. And I don't think it's going to be snowing during the game. Regardless, the weather's the same for both teams. This game's going to be won in the trenches. Get out there, be the more physical team. To me, Dan, tell me if you agree with this. I think Ohio State is better at every position group than Michigan. Like, you just lined them up. Quarterback, better. Running back, early in the year, I would have been Michigan, but now it's just basically Jordan Marshall. I know this kid against Maryland, their walk-on third stringer, got 100 yards against terrible Maryland. He doesn't look very good to me. I mean, when Ohio State goes 4 deep, I have to give Ohio State the edge even at running back. Wide receiver, what are we doing here? Even tight end. Michigan's been known for tight ends and offensive line. The offensive line battle, I think, would be close. I would take Ohio State's. Defensive line, no doubt. They have a good defensive line. Michigan does. I'll take Ohio State's. Linebackers, come on. BIA, of course. I would go right down the list. I think Ohio State's better at every position group, Dan, and they need to go up there and just play their game. Don't play not to lose. Don't be reckless. But Ohio State's the better team. Go up there and just show it.
Hard to argue with that. I do think, as we discuss all these potential pitfalls, we are in a no excuse situation here. Whether when you commit to come play football at Ohio State, you're committing to come play in the winter. That can't be an excuse. There's just no excuses left. We discussed briefly what we're going to talk about on the show, and we're out of excuses when it comes to this. It's the one thing that we're 360 days from the game, gone through 360 days. And I told you this, I still can't get my mind around the last one. Everything else that's happened in sports that I've cared about, given a little bit of time, I can look back on it and say, okay, that team was better. Oh, this happened. Oh, this happened. That one is the one I just can't. So you say this is like any cliche you want to use at this point. Feel free to whip it out, dust it off. All the marbles, no excuses. This is what you lift all them weights for. Anything you want to use, break it out.
Yeah, just go up there and play your game. Be aggressive,
win, baby.
Not reckless. Whatever mindset they had going into the Rose Bowl against Oregon, channel that. All right, where they weren't reckless. They were just like, they came out there like, we're going to lay all our cards on the table and we're going to see what happens. Let's go.
I do think, Dave,
all in.
I promised myself I wasn't going to interview you today, but I got the caffeine starting to kick in of cup 2 here.
Oh,
I do think it's somewhat symbolic that Chip Kelly was fired as we head into Michigan week, just in terms of how 360 days can change things. That's just kind of wild.
I was going to bring this up next, and you can tell everybody, this is the truth. You're my witness on this. Before the show, you were texting me to just make sure I saw that Chip Kelly was fired. I was like, yeah, I saw that last night. And my first thought was, bring him on as an analyst, offensive analyst, maybe run. And look at this. Look, of course, chat's thinking the same thing. This is earlier in the chat, LV Buckeyes on YouTube. Is it too late to bring in Chip as a consultant? No, it's not too late. Now, is Chip just going to want to chill out for a while? Yeah, that's why I said CFP run, not this week. He just got fired. Pretty good gig. He got paid $6 million to be the highest paid assistant coach in NFL history. Just the highest paid assistant coach ever in sports, right? At least in football. No assistant coach made $6 million in college. So he made $6 million this year to coach in 11 games with his buddy Pete Carroll and not coach very well.
Someone will post today that makes it more likely that Matt Patricia stays with Ohio State. Even though they literally have nothing to do with each other. I wouldn't be surprised if you and I were super coaching and I got fired and you called me up and said, hey, sorry you got fired. Want to come hang out for a week and help me beat Michigan because we couldn't do it last year? I might stop by.
We got our guy, Mike Schaefer. Thank you for your service. He's down there taking care of business in the Caribbean at various different islands, Virgin Islands. I've been to the U.S. Virgin Islands once way back in the day, Aruba and Curacao. All right, that's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
I know that's kind of a bucket list thing. The Caribbean is, you have things like that live up to the hype. The Caribbean, if you do it right, is something else. Save up your shekels. No
doubt. I mean, that turquoise blue water. You think Lee Shear would know something about the Caribbean and private islands?
Yeah. I'll just say that the last time Lee and I had this discussion, he was on a flight watching a movie about James Bond, got to the place where he stays, and the only other 2 people in the restaurant were Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz, and he just watched Skyfall. So shed no tears for Mr. Bucknuts.
That's right. All right. And then tomorrow with Ryan Day, people are like, well, maybe we'll get to know more information tomorrow. No, but what can we do? Yeah. I'm better than him. You're worse. Much worse. I'm better than Ted Danson. No, you're worse.
No, you're not.
Much worse. But yeah, so here's what we can do though. We can read between the lines. Patrick and I got a little heat because we said after his ominous comments last week when he was asked about Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, we said that the comments were ominous because they were, and people did not like that we used the word ominous. They're like, what? He didn't say anything. It's like the way he said it, though, seemed ominous. It seemed like he was saying that they will not play this week. So will we know anything definitive tomorrow from Ryan Day? 99% no. You could say 100% no. Will we be able to read between the lines a little bit? Yes. We'll get a vibe from him. Does he look downtrodden when he talks about it? Does he look kind of upbeat? Somewhere in the middle? So, yeah, that's my psychology 101 for today. I can kind of read between the lines pretty well with Coach Day.
I don't know if the lifers here will remember the feature we used to have called Translating Trestle, where you would take these coach speakiest terms. I mean, literally. If that's not a class at Youngstown State now or Coach Speak 101, it should be templated. I am less, Dave, you know this, of anybody who's I do not pay much attention to what people say in front of a microphone in terms of controversial stuff, unless they're just losing their stuff and you're getting to witness a meltdown of some sort. And Ryan Day's never going to do that. Shout out to Lou Holtz.
I was going to say, other than that.
Shout out to Lou.
Other when he was trying to fight Lou Holtz kind of with his word. Where's Lou Holtz at? It's like, dude, he's an old man. Calm down.
That was great. By the way, it was awesome. And I'm not going to do a Lou Holtz impression, although if you're a guy who does impressions, that's a good one to start with. It's very easy.
Eddie Murphy could probably do it well. Eddie Murphy
could do it off the
Eddie
top.
Murphy's a great singer. He impersonates everybody. He's just amazing. Go ahead.
Boogie in Your Butt. Google that. That's his first song. Put a tin can in your butt. Put a little tiny man in your butt. That's one of his songs, dude.
I remember. Yeah. My girl likes to party all the time. Is still.
I think I got
Boogie in Your Butt downloads or something.
Yeah, but Boogie in Your Butt, you had to get on a cassette tape, and one of your friends had it, and you'd listen to it on the bus coming back from JV basketball, all huddled around in some crappy bus. You're about to get in a car accident. So, God, the 80s, no seatbelts. We digress. Yeah, I'm not. I don't even remember what we're talking about there, but I'm not.
We're getting back to the game. We are.
All right. Sorry, Butler Buck.
We do. You're right, Butler Buck. All right, let's get back to the game. All right. Okay, so I think. Man, I mean, you never know what can happen. But I think if Ohio State scores 17 points, they win this game. How is Michigan going to score 17 points against? I don't even know if they're going to score double digits. Because it's a rivalry game. Bryce Underwood's not bad. He's erratic, but he's also very athletic. He's poised. It doesn't look like it's too big for him. But he's been erratic, but he can hit big throws at times. They've got one really good receiver. He's a true freshman, Marsh, number 4. He's good. He's out of Katy, Texas. He's legit. But I mean, still though.
That's what I wrote down. This is the one name. Look at this. This is empty.
Marsh.
Andrew Marsh.
Yes, Marsh.
He's good. We're not talking about. Here's what makes me nervous, and if it makes you uncomfortable that I'm nervous, you should probably stop watching. After last year and for this game, look, Bryce Underwood. What do I think he's a better quarterback than Julian Sand? Of course not. Could Bryce Underwood, is he talented enough to put together one of those games where he's running all over the place and throwing? He's got that potential. Marsh is a good enough receiver that if Davison Igbinosun takes his oven mitts off, he can draw up calls. You know what I'm saying? They've always got a tight end. The running back, Kudzil, I think his last name was, which is not the name of a running back, I might add. First Kudzil I've seen. I've seen Marshalls. I've seen Haynes. I've not seen Kudzil. He looked pretty good. So, and here's another thing. Who's the best team we've played this season, Dave? Texas?
Yeah, I mean.
This is going to be the best team we've played this season. Now, that's more an indictment of the schedule than putting Michigan on a pedestal, especially the way that they've had some injuries. I'm big on, this happened to me back in the day, and we used to have to pick every high school game when I was coming up. In football, I am big on who you played the week before. Even if the team is not good, if they're super, super physical and they're one of those teams you don't want to play, you enjoy playing football more than next week. You get out there, you're like, oh, wait, I got a little more extra space.
That's a wash this week.
Quite as hard.
Both teams are coming off games against crap teams.
Correct. And so you could say it against us. Look, playing against Maryland's defense is not a similar experience to playing against the Fighting Caleb Downs.
Let's just be honest about Rutgers' defense, which is the worst in the Big Ten, is nowhere near playing against Michigan's defense in the Big House. When you have all this is why it's getting so easy to say, just go up there and play your game. Don't let worry. Ryan Day's a human. He's definitely going to have part of that. Hopefully, he's able to block it out, like what's happened in the last 4 years, and just play their game. They're the better team. I think they're the better coaching staff by a mile. I mean, Wink Martindale's a solid defensive coordinator. Who would you rather have, Matt Patricia or Wink Martindale? You know, I think Brian Days is clearly a better head coach than Sharon Moore, but he's got to prove it. So it's easy to say that, but like the game's at the Big House. Michigan's got kind of a mental edge on Ohio State, although that can flip real quick. I tell you what, though, man, if Ohio State can find a way to get a 2-score lead, it is going to be just
I get that.
Lights out. They just have to get out there and just get a 2-score lead, and this defense is just going to suffocate Michigan.
My boys know this, that my absolute favorite thing in football. I've actually changed. I don't like taking the opening kick now because the way everyone's figured out the middle 8 and you want it in the second half. But when you're dominant on offense, you take the ball, touchdown, 3-and-out touchdown, you're going to win that game.
Yep.
That is the most comforting thing you'll ever see. That's when your defensive line can pin their ears back. The other team starts panicking, and that is high school, college, pro, pee-wee, Tecmo Bowl, whatever you want to do. Get up 14-0, and the other team's like, dude, we've had 3 snaps. I'm not even going to sweat yet, and we're down 2 scores.
And they start to press because they're going to get out of their game plan, which is no doubt run the ball, muddy it up. Michigan.
Ohio State has to be prepared to be down 14-0 and still come back. Flukes happen. We can fumble on the goal line. We've proven this, okay? Even Jeremiah last year, his first game, first big hit from the Iowa middle linebacker. Ball came. It could happen. We've got to be ready for the worst-case scenario. Last year, hello, go to Webster's Dictionary for football, look up worst-case scenario, and you're going to see Will Howard there holding his head like, he's got a concussion. And you're going to see 2 field goals that were absolutely easy field goals that skew. I don't know where the hell they were headed. They've got to be ready for the worst case scenario because Michigan, if they get up 7-0, all the pressure then, all that geeky stuff, the fans is going to be on the weight. It will be on Ohio State. They've got to be able to handle that. Now, ideally, they take the ball 3-and-out, touchdown, 3-and-out, touchdown game. I love that idea. It hasn't tended to go in that fashion the last 4 years. Just be ready for anything, especially this. We talked about Greg Schiano this week. Schiano, to me, of any coach they've ever faced traditionally, is the kitchen sink coach. Like, remember the one touchdown they gave up was like the fumble Ruski to Kyle Monungai, I think.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So it's like, now he didn't do it this past weekend. He did try and make you lose your bet by going for it and trying to get Ohio State the over. Going for it from the 20 against the best short yardage defense of all time after you didn't get it on 3rd and 1 and called timeout. It's literally the worst call I've ever seen. That said, they have to be prepared this week. If they fumble the opening kickoff, if the first pass Julian Sand throws is intercepted, it's not that big of a deal. You're going to take some punches. They need to be ready to win this in the worst case scenario. Okay? You can't be any of these cannots. Can't be any of this who has the most rushing yards.
Exactly. I don't want to hear that at all this week.
Anything.
I don't want to hear that at all this week. Now, whoever wins the game, will they probably have the most rushing yards? Yes, but that could be a factor of that team gets the lead. They might not even have the most rushing yards at the time. Then they run out the clock in the 4th quarter. So, yeah, probably whoever wins the game is going to have also win the rushing yard battle. I don't care. Ohio State does not need to worry about that. Go in there. If they have to throw for 300 yards to win the game, just win the game. I don't care how. I don't care who wins the rushing battle. And that got in his head last year. There's no doubt about it. Ryan Day was like, we're gonna beat them at their game. They're not good. Our defense is going to shut them down. And they still would have won with the worst game plan ever if they didn't miss a couple of chip shot field goals. But speaking of Chip, I put that mostly on Chip and Ryan last year. That game plan, awful game plan, and then not adjusting. The worst game plan that I've seen. But I tell you, when I think about this game, obviously, if you're a Buckeye fan, no matter when, I remember years where Michigan was just awful. The Ohio State-Michigan game, you're always going to have a little trepidation going into it. Even like a game like 2008, right, that Ohio State, I think, won like 1,000,000 to nothing. There's always going to be a little trepidation, of course, after losing 4 straight. And this week, they're only favored by 10.5. It's at Michigan. Anytime I start to get a little trepidation, I think, gosh, this might be the best defense I've ever seen at Ohio State. That's going back to my time as a little kid, being a big-time fan all the way through high school, college, and my many years on the beat. I think – now, the story has not been written yet because, as you mentioned, the schedule's nowhere near as tough as we thought it would be. And even Michigan's offense is very limited. But, I think this is the best Ohio State defense I've ever seen, which is crazy to say after they lost 8 draft picks off last year's defense. But when you add Matt Patricia, the other assistant coaches on defense, the personnel they have, I think this is the best Ohio State defense I've seen. And I think they're just going to go up there and just take it to Michigan. Ohio State's going to win this game because of their defense.
Got some good stuff coming in the boarding house this week because I've been using an NFL source who is all over it, and he was actually in the building for the Ohio State game this weekend. Got some great stuff coming about that, one of which he got a chance to see Caleb Downs in person for the first time this year and was talking about how you can just see it. Before the snap, the heads turn, and Caleb was like, bing, 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 and then guys are in the right spot. That nexus of Patricia and Downs gives me a ton of confidence. I'm not here to say it's the best defense because you're really talking about a long, long time. It doesn't bust. There haven't been – if you're going to beat them, you got to beat them. Going back to Arch's throw against Jermaine Matthews in the first game. Great throw. I can't think back to a lot of times when they've been truly just fooled or out-schemed. In the past, I mean, they've not let go of the rope, but things have gotten away from them in games. The Oregon game last year, where it looks like, oh my God, they cannot defend this. There hasn't been anything like that this year, even when the defense has struggled, and I'm using air quotes for that. So super confident. And also Matt Patricia carries no bags into this game. So people are like, oh, he hasn't been at Ohio State for long. He has no Michigan bags to carry. It's no issue for him.
That's another
thing. Michigan needs to win this game. There's pressure on them.
We don't get to talk to Patricia very often, but we've talked to him like enough. We've talked to him like maybe a couple times during the season itself. We talked to him a couple times during camp. We talked to him 2 or 3 times during spring. So we've talked to him like maybe not 10 times total since he's taken the job, but more than 5. It's always good stuff. We got Jim Knowles every week last year, I believe, except maybe once. We typically got, or maybe every other week. It usually was Ryan Day, then one of the coordinators, then Will Howard. Will Howard's one we got every week. So every other week we got Jim Knowles last year. And he said this last year, he said it his second year, and he said it his first year at Ohio State. He said, yeah, it's just built into our defense. You know, we're going to give up 2 or 3 chunk plays a game. I think Matt Patricia would rather like cut off his ear than say, yeah, we're just going to give up 2 or 3 chunk plays. And he's like, we're going to give up 0 chunk plays. Like, I always thought that was a little bit of I like Jim Knowles. I always thought that, and I heard what he was saying. We're going to be aggressive. With that's going to come, we're going to give up a couple or 3 chunk plays. I'm thinking, shouldn't the goal be we're going to be aggressive and give up no chunk plays? I get it. He was just being overly honest, but I could never see Matt Patricia saying something like that. He's just fantastic.
It's hard to fathom the journey we've gone since last year, you know, for Knowles to win the title and his defense to really come on during the playoffs. Facts. To then lose all those guys and be better. The idea that they replace their entire defensive line, and I'm not saying the defensive line is better. That's probably a little hyperbolic, but it's damn good.
Last year's is better just because the guys this year that are starters were the second team.
The backups, correct, right.
No, but seriously, the starters,
but
it's
like,
crazy to say because I love the starting defensive line from last year. I think this year's is better.
Tyleik Williams was a first-round draft pick. I'm sorry. I think Caden McDonald is better than Tyleik Williams, and I realize that's –
No, I agree. They played different positions because Tyleik was technically the 3 tech. So you would take Tyleik over Tywone Malone, who, by the way, is having a really good year. I need to see more out of Edric Houston. Yeah. If I see more, I don't need to see him get 15-yard penalties every time he's in the game. He's always doing something that's like, dude, I get you're going to get up in somebody's grill like at times – playing this violent sport in the trenches, but once you do it, you got to learn to like take your hand out of there. Anyway, that was just a dumb penalty, and we've seen him do dumb things. But Tywone Malone stepped up. He's not as good as Tyleik, but I would definitely take, you know, obviously Caden McDonald over Ty Hamilton, and Ty Hamilton was really good. Now, are we saying we would take Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson over Captain Jack and JT? I think I would. I don't
want to be struck by lightning here, and it looks pretty nice out. But Caden Curry has been better this year on the whole than Jack Sawyer was to this point in the season last year. I will say this. In the playoffs, Jack Sawyer, keep in mind, he was the 3rd Bosa brother coming in here, theoretically.
And he turned into it.
He did come through in the playoffs
when
he needed to. And I'm not just talking about the Quinn Ewers, you know, lifetime memory award.
He also stepped up against Michigan. I thought he had his like career moment against Michigan last year. I'm like, and I remember thinking after the game, all the bad things that happened. I'm like, geez, and now Jack Sawyer's never going to get his super big moment as a Buckeye. And he's thinking, hey, just give me about a month and a little more than a month.
I got it.
Well, yeah, we'll take care of that. But yeah, man, I mean, Jack Sawyer did. He went from a guy that was like solid to the guy, okay, this is what we expected out of him, and then some during the CFP run. Yeah, him and JT played really well during the CFP run too. They were racking up sacks. But JT's another one. He was a little underwhelming because, and nothing against, really wasn't his fault. He came in with ridiculous hype Number 1 overall player in the country was JT. Remember when he came in, when he flew in to Columbus Airport, people got wind of it. There was a ton of people there, reporters and fans, like meeting him at the airport. He hadn't committed to Ohio State yet. So, but yeah, going back to, I think I would take this D-line over that one. Caden McDonald, to me, is the best one tech in the country. Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson, they form a really good tandem at the defensive end. And like I said, Tywone Malone, I was a big skeptic of his. He didn't do anything his first 2 years at Ohio State. Entering his 5th year, this isn't the first time we've seen it where things like the light bulb comes on as a 5th-year senior. Guy like, Darryl Baldwin comes to mind. He was the starting right tackle for the 2014 national championship team and played well that year. He didn't do anything for 4 years. Didn't even play. And then he's a starter for the national championship team as a 5th-year senior. So we've seen it before. Curtis Grant, somewhat similar. He was a 4th-year senior, a true senior. But he didn't really do anything his first 3 years, and Curtis Grant turned into be a pretty good linebacker, middle linebacker, that 2014 national championship. So we've seen it before, but it's good seeing Tywone Malone step up. Not that he's having like some phenomenal year, but what I wouldn't want is to have these 3 studs up there, and then but we have that weak link at 3 tech D tackle. There's no weak link. Tywone Malone's playing well. Kudos to him.
I've repeated this many times, but in terms of just likelihood, the idea that we have 2 starting defensive ends that are technically seniors by age that never started here, that are both guaranteed at least second-day picks, I cannot put into words how ridiculous that is. So when people say they want to change the NIL, guess what? They would not still be here if we couldn't have given them some cash and tell them, just wait your turn. The reason Ohio State, in my opinion, has pulled away and now is like you're hearing stuff about Ohio State's the new Georgia, blah, 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 is because they have not upset the apple cart. You know what I'm saying? Those guys would have left if they were from another program. They would have gone to been the highest paid defensive end at enter any school here, not named Georgia, Alabama, or, whatever. They'd be at USC or something like that. So when you talk about culture, that to me is just unbelievable. I mean, Caden McDonald is going to leave here as a first-round draft pick as a 1-year starter. Arvell Reese is going to get picked in the top 5 as a 1-year starter. That does not happen routinely. We lost 14 guys to the draft and brought back our 2 highest-rated players.
Yep.
We were going to lose 5 first-round picks to the draft and bring back our 2 highest-rated players. I hope people understand how ridiculous that is. I mean, Julian Sayin and Jeremiah Smith, my guess right now, are if you had an NFL board for any year and it was just the massive board, they're the 2 highest-rated players we got. It's unbelievable what they're doing. So now, if they go up to Ann Arbor, as you called it, and lay an egg, I don't have any. I would not be able to give you a good reason for that. That would be mercurial and cosmic. I do not expect it to happen. I'm on the boat, and I said this, because I feel we're wrapping up soon here. I think both receivers will play and dominate. Until I see otherwise, I'm going to believe that.
Yeah, I'm hearing that they're both going to play. I'm JJ, no doubt. Carnell, I'm hearing he's going to play too. Real quick, we'll end on this. Emily is asking, how much do we care about the weather? I mean, I care. I'm glad it's not going to be super. Who knows? 5 days away. Take it with a grain of salt for sure. Maybe a shaker of salt. But we're getting closer and closer. When people are talking about like the 14-day forecast, I'm like, calm down. Like, I'm skeptical of the next day's forecast, but it looks like it's going to be dry, relatively not windy. We might have a little bit of snow, but it looks like the snow is going to hold off, if there's any snow, till the PM hours. So clearly after the game, it's going to be cold, but is 30 degrees really that cold in Ann Arbor? Late November. If I think of late November cold in Ann Arbor, I'm thinking like teens and really windy. So I'm not worried about the weather. I don't really care.
If it's a blizzard,
teams. Yeah.
If it's a blizzard, we still have to win.
Right.
I mean,
Michigan, it's not like all of a sudden Michigan gets to play under a dome when they have the ball, or however you want to look at it. Like, it's going to be.
I don't think
for both teams.
I could be wrong, Dave. I don't think football players care about this as much as people think, as much as the fans and the betting public. Listen, I remember when the Oakwood Pee Wee team went over for a tilt of epic proportions over at at Carroll, and our biggest player in a freezing cold rain. When it was like the weather that one day we lost to Kirk Cousins. That wasn't even Kirk Cousins. It was the Tyler character, Tyler O'Connor. When we lost to Michigan State, and it was literally whatever the degrees is where it doesn't snow, but it's still raining, like 32.001 degrees. That's what it was the whole day. But look, one of our kids was crying, our biggest kid. And I was like, why are you crying? He's like, my hands are so cold. And I said, look over there. It's snowing over there too. You don't get to complain about that in football. Come on now. The weather doesn't bother these dudes. They're probably playing football in the snow is fun.
There's no crying in baseball. There's no complaining about the snow in football. You're right. When we play backyard football, tackle football all the time, when it was snowing, oh, that would be the best. Backyard tackle football in the snow.
I'll tell you the best. And everyone there's only a few people that will know this, but if you went to boarding school that also had day students, so you follow me a little bit here, we had mostly boarders, a few day students, which means you still had to have snow days, right? Oh. A snow day at boarding school, dude.
Ooh.
We're talking center campus. Ooh. It was co-ed too, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Basically, there were cheerleaders. You get after it. So nothing better than a snow day at boarding school.
Ooh, I like it. This one time at boarding school on a snow day.
Band camp?
That sounds, I was going to say, I tell you, sung to the tune of American Pie. This one time at boarding school on a snow day, Dan Rubin had the time of his life. All right, we're going to close up shop right now. Thank you to Dan Rubin. Thanks to all of you. Very large audience here to kick off Beat Michigan Week. They're going to get it done, my friends. Thanks to Dan. Thanks to all of you. We appreciate it very much. Hope everyone has a great rest of your day. I know you're still basking. Go Bucks.